30 years ago, it was rare to find women in high-performance computing, but that's changed a lot in the last decade. Hello and welcome to the SC20 News Desk. I'm Charla Bocchicchio in Salt Lake City, and my guests are Melyssa Fratkin in Austin, Texas, and Sue Fratkin in Washington, D.C. Welcome, Melyssa and Sue. How are you today?
So far, so good.
That's great.
Great. Sue, will both of you tell us just how you're involved in SC20 and in the global HPC community? Sue, let's start with you.
Oh, I was going to defer to Melyssa because Melissa's the more important one this time.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Whoever wants to start.
Yeah, Melyssa, you start.
Okay, so I'm the communications chair for SC20, which is a huge job, just making sure that we get all the information out about the speakers. And in this case, it became an even bigger job because we went virtual, and then we had to tell everyone we were going virtual, and then create the virtual platform and do all of the things we needed to do for that. Right. So in building up my committee, usually you have someone who is the public affairs liaison person, and that person handles everything from sometimes working with the media, but also working with government agencies and the state agencies of whatever state we're going to, and to make sure those people get invited and taken care of. And in searching through my Rolodex of who could do this, the best person, it was Sue. I mean, there was just no question of who I was going to ask. So
great, that's awesome.
So that's how I got involved. But I've been involved in high performance computing for more than 30 years, and I retired as the Washington liaison for CASC, the Coalition for Academic Scientific Computation. And as such, I was living here in Washington, and being the Washington person, I interacted with all the federal agencies, every single one of them that had any interest or program at all involving high performance computing. And as head of that association, after 26 years, I stepped down and became involved in SC, working with Compute for Change, and that's working with the students.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like Melyssa made a good choice in having you come on board to help. Melyssa, what are you doing outside of the SE conference? What is your kind of day job, if you will?
So I am the industry programs director for the Texas Advanced Computing Center here in Austin.
Great.
So it's my job to coordinate our contracts with industry, to set up research projects and associations. We have an industry affiliates program. We have more than 30 members now, of everything from small local startups to Fortune 500 companies. And so we want to share with them our expertise and learn from them as well. And they come to us for students that they can hire who have experience in high performance computing or visualization or data analytics, and for questions about everything from, okay, we're building a new data center, what do you recommend? Or we're buying a new system, how did you like X, Y, or Z? And one of the great things about TAC is that we are sort of, technology agnostic. We will review every technology out there and we'll tell you what we think. I mean, we're not going to shine it. It's if we don't like it, you'll know. But if we do like it, we'll buy more of it. So, excellent. It's great for them because they get an unbiased opinion of something.
Right, which is important, super important.
Which is important. And it's been a wonderful way to know what's going on with industry, to keep track of because we're in Texas, I have a lot of oil industry partners. And so, seeing them start to pivot from fossil fuels to renewables, and what are they doing, and how does that change their technology needs and their software needs, and how can we support them and help them as they move forward in that. So it's been really interesting.
I'm sure it does. So in this deadly pandemic that we find ourselves in the middle of, it's obviously straining a lot of families and individuals. How have you two maintained a tight bond and stayed connected through all this?
Oh my God, we talk on the phone almost every day.
At least
the other day, maybe.
The technology is amazing and makes a huge difference. The recollection I have is when Melyssa was overseas for her junior year abroad in Spain, and I needed to get information to her. And the only way I could do it was I figured out I could send a fax to the professor's office, and Melyssa could then go to get it. And now, of course, we have not only, our daily phone calls, our texting like crazy when things come up, or beyond that, we do have a family Zoom. So Sundays at 7 o'clock every other week, you get your glass of wine.
I love it.
Or your snack. We celebrated birthdays. Everybody got their own cupcake and candle to celebrate different birthdays. And so that's how we stay in touch.
That's fantastic. I love the meeting that you have set up. I think that's really wonderful. It allows you.
Yeah, it has really worked out very, very well. And I am really blessed. The whole family is involved in computing, all the kids.
Gotcha.
And so there's a level of discussion sometimes, or inquiry, if you will, in what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And so there are all levels of information flying around that Zoom, and it's just chugging along.
Which is what we do, right? We just keep on going.
Getting ready for supercomputing. It's that time of year.
Yay!
Well, I've been attending supercomputer meetings since 1990.
Wow.
1990 was my first meeting, and I was invited to come to meet with a rump group of supercomputer center directors who were interested in what was going on in Washington, and that reason was Al Gore had introduced a bill on high performance computing, and this group wanted to know more detail. And so I was contacted and asked to come up. I took the train up to New York to go to the Hilton Hotel and met with them. And after that, I was asked to work with this group. Ultimately, it became the coalition, and started with 11 members. And by the time I left, we had close to 80, and now there are 85 members of that organization.
Oh, they're more than that now. They're 90 plus.
Oh, really? Yeah. See?
There you go.
But I've maintained my interest in high performance computing and my involvement. And so I guess, I passed it on, definitely.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
When I went to business school in the middle of the .com boom, and I thought, oh, I'll get out and I'll work for an e-commerce company and I'll work in the .coms and it'll be great. And 2 months before I graduated with my MBA, all the .coms went bust. So that was not the plan that I had started with, but I ended up working for Sue and working for CASC and learning all about what was going on in academic supercomputing and all the different kinds of research that was going on. So I wrote the brochures that they do every year for a couple of years in a row.
Right.
And learned and met all the people and went with her to meetings and met all the agency people. And started to sort of build this knowledge base of what's going on and why it's so important to this country to have everybody, be able to use high performance computing to do research and to make these breakthrough discoveries. And so when the Council on Competitiveness was looking for a program manager in their high performance computing section, there were just 2 of us in that group when I was hired, but I already knew people, and I already knew that people would answer the phone if I called them. And we could walk into meetings with Congress or with agency people, and they already knew who I was. And some of them, they knew who I was because they would look at me and look at my name and say, "Are you related to Sue?"
Right. Yeah. That's always been.
Oh, I love your mother. She's wonderful. Tell her I said hi.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
Yeah. It's always been
that
interesting.
still happens. But I knew that when I started working at TAC in 2006 and started going to supercomputing and started to try and make a name for myself in the community, the first time it happened, probably a year or 2 after that, she walked up to someone at supercomputing and they saw her name tag and they said, "Oh, are you related to Melyssa?" And I thought,
oh, yes. Yeah.
The tables have turned. That's fantastic.
But, yeah. And of course, TAC at that time, in the earliest days, was one of the first members of CASC.
Yep.
And it was the Supercomputing Center of Texas. And it was before it became TAC. And so I knew a lot of the people attack and knew the folks at the centers. The exciting thing about being involved in supercomputing, high performance computing all along has been to be there on the sidelines and watch from where it was the odd industry. I mean, Boeing had its own center in the 1980s. Ford Auto finally was the first auto industry that bought its own supercomputer, high performance computer. Prior to that, you saw all of this activity in Japan.
Right.
With high performance computing. And so that was and it was still ancillary and an adjunct, and watching over the years how it has become a fully integrated part of production, of education, of all aspects of daily life. And it's amazing that it has happened in 30 years, a little bit longer, but in this shorter period of time.
Yeah. So, every SC conference breaks new records in some way. What records do you both expect to be broken at this year's conference?
Well,
your whole new thing, Mel, on a virtual floor.
This is the first ever virtual conference, completely virtual, right? This is the first time we've ever not had in-person anything at SC. So we'll be really interested to see how people react to that, how many people we get for, the keynote presentations, how many people go and visit the virtual expo and talk to the exhibitors and stuff. The exhibitors, I'm really impressed. The exhibitors have really, some of them have really pushed and done some amazing things in their little booths. And we'll have in-person chats available for people to talk to. The students at SC program this year is phenomenal. They've actually got interest groups with different topics so that learn more about data analytics or I can't remember what all the topics are. They're amazing. Molecular dynamics or bio and life sciences. They will be meeting with someone who's an expert in that area and then attending a talk about it and then coming back and talking about it with that expert person. So they get to learn more about a particular area.
We're still
with a guide, with someone who's already an expert in it. And so there's no pressure. You're not, and some of that is also, you're not walking into a big meeting room and not knowing anybody.
This has been wonderful to hear you two talking about each other and about obviously what you're passionate about. So thank you for joining us. So Sue Fratkin is a public policy analyst focused on technology in higher education and government. She is the founder of Fratkin Associates in Washington, D.C. Melyssa Fratkin is Industrial Programs Director at the Texas Advanced Computing Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Thank you both for all you're doing to make the SC20 a success.